Jon Allen. He's a former Canadian ambassador to Israel. Jon, always good to have you with us. Wish it was under better circumstances. Your thought on where things stand today?
Well, your analysis and your pictures really show what's happening. You've had massive attacks in Iran, on Tehran, on a number of the sites there, and you've had very significant retaliation by the Iranians. Some 300 ballistic missiles sent, over 100 drones. Probably 90% of them or more have been intercepted. But as you indicated, some have gotten through, hit Tel Aviv, hit Jerusalem. One hit very close to the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv. So we're at a situation where you've got a tit for tat. You've got missiles flowing back and forth, and aircraft bombing. And we'll see where it goes. How many missiles Iran has, how many defensive capabilities Israel has to defend against these missiles, and whether there will be any efforts to intervene, to de-escalate, and to bring a diplomatic solution here.
It would certainly seem at this point anyway, Jon, that this is turning into a huge military defeat for the Iranians in terms of, its top military leadership, intelligence, nuclear program leadership, all being taken out, killed by the Israelis as a result of these ongoing operations, which Israel is careful to say, look, this is not over by a long shot. We are going to continue over the days to come to do as much as we can to degrade, Iran's ability to cause problems in the Middle East. I thought it was interesting that Agence France Presse, AFP, is reporting Netanyahu saying, look, we're changing the face of the Middle East here. What do you make of that?
Well, the face of the Middle East hasn't been changed yet. The stated purpose of Israel is to ensure that the Iranians don't get a nuclear weaponization. To date, Israel's been successful in targeting a couple of major nuclear sites, Natanz and Isfahan. They still have not been able to hit the one that is 100 meters underground and buried into the side of a mountain, Nordo. And so you're right, they have killed nuclear scientists, the head of the Iranian National Guard, many military leaders. But the real goal here has not yet been achieved, and some argue that it will probably need U.S. intervention in terms of the kinds of bombs that could get to Nordau and the kinds of planes that could deliver those bombs that would get that deep.
So let me ask you before we go about the U.S. involvement here. We know there were, sort of ongoing talks between the United States and Iran about its nuclear program. Does this conflict bring those talks closer to actually bringing about results, or does this conflict push them further away? Does it radicalize the Iranian regime, or does it force them to go back to the negotiating table and come up with an agreement that is palpable to the Americans and the Israelis?
Well, that's the $100 million question. On the one hand, they could be so degraded that they want to come back to the table. That's what Donald Trump certainly wants. He wants to be able to create peace in the Middle East. And that would be why Bibi Netanyahu says that the Middle East has been radically changed. On the other hand, you could get a rally around the flag in Iran, and you could get Iran saying that I can't trust the Americans. They obviously gave the green light here, and I certainly can't trust Israel, so I'm going to move as fast as I can to weaponize. We are going to have to wait and see how this plays out. Hopefully, the death and the destruction can cease, and perhaps Iran and the U.S. can go back to the table at some point. But we're not sure where we're going yet.
Jon, appreciate you taking the time for CTV News today. Thank you as always.
My pleasure.